Do you believe in ghosts and the supernatural and the paranormal?
No.
Can you embellish on that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think that people exist after they die.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the house on Wells Street in Wilkes-Barre?
No, I haven't. I've heard of the Smurl House in West Pittston and seen the movie based on it. And I watch horror movies and Amityville Horror and things like that, but usually the evidence is blown way out of proportion from what is actually there.
How would you feel if I told you that not only is it one of the most haunted houses in the area, but in the country? So close to Kansas.
It's just weird because we never really heard about it.
If other people are going to go in and investigate, what you're looking for is what you're going to get. If they're looking for something very malicious, evil, dark, energy, they're going to get it.
You may be familiar with the idea of the traditional haunted house. For centuries, tales have been spun through cultures across the globe of ghosts, apparitions, and poltergeists spooking their way through our dimension. Here at home in the United States, these accounts can range from a number of properties, such as hotels like the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, which inspired horror writer Stephen King to write his best-selling novel, The Shining. The Winchester Mystery House in California, a 160-room behemoth built by the heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, to houses in small-town America like the infamous Amityville Horror House. Even locally, the Smurl House in West Pittston has garnered regional and national attention for its alleged poltergeist activity. These events were detailed in a book and subsequent movie entitled The Haunted in 1991. These landmarks have a distinct reputation that has drawn attention through various forms of media as well as word of mouth. But what about that house down the street in your neighborhood that your parents always used to tell you to stay away from while growing up? Warnings like this would shroud these properties in mystery, leaving your curious little minds to paint an unclear picture of what lurked behind the doors and windows. One of these houses exists right here in our own backyard of King's College, and the mystery is just as alive as ever.
To be honest with you, the minute we walked in the door, the place just lit off. I think there's been a surge in activity in recent years in investigating the house. And I think that's served to help fuel some of the ongoing activity and actually, for lack of a better term, aggravate the beings that are in residence there. It's kind of gotten under their skin.
Tom and Karen are spiritual cleansers from the Wilkes-Barre area. They both claim to have the gift to bridge the gap between the physical world and the other side. They have done paranormal investigations in the past at some hotbed locations, including the Carbon County Jail and on the battlefields of Gettysburg, where they have been able to gather evidence of light anomalies, apparitions, and electronic voice phenomena. A few years ago, Tom and Karen decided to take on the Wells house from the inside. What they found is incredible, and we are fortunate enough to have them share their story and their evidence. This is their story, in their own words.
When I was a kid, this stuff started for me when I was like 5. And I used to see stuff. They'd come in my room at night and talk to me, and I'd see stuff standing there. And I told my mother about it. She thought about getting me treated. Yeah, we're talking the late 60s. So my mother thought about getting me treated, but she decided that I might grow out of it. You know, I was just making up stories, right? Nowadays, she's in her late 70s, and she has come to terms with the fact that I never grew out of it. And it sort of came and went over the course of my life. Every once in a while, I'd get a crack in the head saying, hey, we're still here. We were one of the first ones to go in there for quite a long time. There hadn't been anybody in the house before us. But when we walked in, the place basically just lit off.
Before we show you some of what they captured inside the house, let's have Tom and Karen explain their means of collecting the evidence shown in this documentary. As it turns out, the equipment that they use is more simple than you might think.
We have a little collection of night vision cameras. Some of them are real simple, like Sony HC-28s. Put a wide-angle lens on them. They have night shot. They have infrared night shot. So they pick up infrared light, and they pick up some ultraviolet light I've found. And they pick up UV and IR light. And they're realms that we can't normally see with our own eyes. But when those beings hit them, they tends to energize them, and they'll light up and appear in your picture with infrared light or ultraviolet light.
And we did pick up some additional infrared lighting and ultraviolet lighting, so it it brings the picture through a lot
clearer.
clearer.
Yeah, like for me, I'll set up one individual, like I mentioned the CX 560 before, and that's a good camera. Has night shot, and you set it up. I'll set it up with like 3 infrared illuminators, and those 3 infrared illuminators will throw enough light to make it look like daylight. You know, on the camera anyway. You're walking around in darkness looking at this little screen, but it looks like daylight on it. Hazy greenish gray daylight. But so that's one thing. We have a collection of recording devices, all digital. What we have found is the older, cheaper ones that didn't have all the filters built into them work better. And quite honestly, that's how EVP was discovered. They were making recorders for secretaries to use in offices that were sitting there doing dictation, and they'd be listening, and they'd hear all these other voices on their recorder talking, and they started to complain about it, like, where's all this interference coming from? Well, these were real simple recording devices and real simple mics that had no filters built into them. So the engineers got hard to work, and they filtered out all that stuff from all those ranges of hearing that you don't normally hear with your own ear, and the voices went away.
EVP, or electronic voice phenomena, are sounds found on electronic recordings that are interpreted as spirit voices that have been either unintentionally recorded or intentionally requested and recorded. The concept of EVPs has had an impact on our popular culture, with appearances in various ghost hunting shows on television to movies like Poltergeist, The Sixth Sense, and The Changeling.
First camera I set down at the bottom of the stairs looking up the stairs got activity while we were still setting up equipment. Yeah, I looked up the top of the stairs and decided to put a camera there because as we were walking through the home just getting the layout, I went upstairs and saw a bright flash of white light at the top of the stairs with my own eyes. And decided that'd be a good spot to put a camera. And set the camera down, and it was just sitting there running on its own, and you watch this, what we call a light anomaly, some people call it an orb. It just gradually meandered down from the second floor and then disappeared out of the shot.
Though the house has stood in the same location for centuries, it went virtually unnoticed until 1975 when a local disc jockey who went by the name Bucky Johnson and his wife purchased the house to expand his radio station's outreach from Duryea, a small town located 10 miles north of Wilkes-Barre. Nothing in particular stood out about the house when Johnson first laid eyes on it, except for what the story, more dangerous than Amityville, claimed was a low price. As the couple began their stay, things seemed relatively normal until one evening in February 1976 when the family was greeted late at night by what was described as something rapping at the front door. After events like this unfolded over the next few years, the house began to turn the family into something that they weren't. Bucky turned to drinking, their daughter began to experience fevers sporadically, and their marriage began to crumble. It was around this time that the couple began conducting their own extensive research on the house, as they wanted to dig deeper into what made this place so eerie and unpredictable. They then discovered that the house was built in 1865 by a man named Augustus C. Lanning, who was vital to the early development of the city of Wilkes-Barre. Despite the man's successes, he was described by many as a cruel man who enjoyed doing wrong to his loved ones. Though a married man, Lanning enjoyed extramarital affairs, and one of his lovers was a married woman. So what does lurk inside the walls at 46 South Wells Street? The exterior is certainly creepy enough to fit the part of a haunted house, as cobwebs, leaves, and decay have begun to set in. It sends an ominous tone to those who walk by to stay out and stay far, far away.
So it appears that with that home, there seems to be one primary dark being in residence, and he sort of, for lack of a better term, traps some others and kind of holds them there.
Legends such as this have been recorded in articles that have been subsequently published about the house and the spirits that reside there. Could it be that the mistress's husband set out to curse Augustus Landing, but instead put a curse on the entire property and everyone who would ever live there?
Beings like that feed off of fear. Okay, so for example, me, the second night we were there, I was passing through the living room of the house and a dark figure came from an upper corner in the room and sort of dive bombed my head, I guess for lack of a better term, and then shot away from me. And it was a real clear signal to leave. So you get a reaction. You're in darkness and you're just getting a little bit of ambient light from the window, so here comes this thing and it gets right at you. And you pick up on some other things as well. There's actually a video clip I can play you that has someone with a very, very deep, nasty voice saying something very nasty to me.
Camera here.
Understand that in the house alongside the stairs that go from the first to the second floor, we found a very energetic, a line of energy that basically went down to the basement and it projects upward through the home, which is really peculiar. It's not on the stairs, it's in the air next to the stairs.
It's a doorway.
It's essentially a portal, a doorway. So when you go in there, if you're looking for something particularly nasty, it's going to rear its ugly head. There is something particularly nasty and unpleasant there, and it has preyed on the living for probably about 100 years now, roughly. That's about the best age I can give it. It's been there roughly about that amount of time. And it's preyed on the living and empowered itself greatly as a result of it. There's some people that have gone in there who have found, what they term a demonic presence. I don't know, that being that's he could be halfway there. He could have already contracted with something darker. Who knows? Who really knows? We just know he was really nasty and really in control of the energy in the house.
Though a married man, Lanning enjoyed extramarital affairs, and one of his lovers was a married woman. One evening, while going through the basement, Johnson found an old picture of an old man that sparked familiarity in his conscience and confirmed all of his suspicions from that point forward.
Did any of them identify themselves to you?
Not by name.
Not by name.
Not by name.
There was one, the grandmother.
Well, the grandmother and the gentleman.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize.
So,
The elderly couple that lived there, and the woman had passed not long before. The gentleman had been in spirit for some time, and they were actively seeking a way out of the house.
And we helped them cross over.
beautiful. So these negative energies, I guess they never identified themselves to you?
No.
Did they make their presence known to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they scare you away?
No.
Were they intimidating?
They tried to be.
Although the house has been discussed by local citizens via the media and word of mouth, the house on Wells Street has not been recognized on a national level. Tom and Karen have an explanation for this.
First of all, it wasn't really out in the open, like it wasn't really publicized like nationally like the other houses are. The people who, when we went there, who had it, they were afraid to put it out there, saying it was a haunted house, because who's going to want to buy a haunted house?
But isn't that almost the problem that everybody else had? When you look at Amityville or...
Bear in mind, Amityville was like the scene of gruesome murders. Right? So here we have a house on South Wells where there's some recorded history that says a guy was walking by and dropped dead out front. And there's recorded history that says several people chose to end their own lives in the house, depending on what they were driven by. If you go in there, like Karen said, looking for looking for something darker, and you have an energetic portal in the house, you're going to attract it. You want to talk to them, they'll come talk to you. I don't necessarily believe in those kind of conversations because there are some bad things out there that can latch onto you and make your life really, really miserable.
Has the house or any other books, particularly the house, has it left any impressions on you?
That house? Has it left any impression on me? The only impression that's left on me is that it's misunderstood, and in all likelihood someone can go in there and give the place a good thorough cleansing and it would be fine. It troubles me greatly that people go and investigate and they want to hear certain things on a recorder. They want to hear something talking backwards in some kind of language, and you know, they want to bump into these things. But in the meantime, it has a couple other beings trapped there, you know, basically feeding off of them, and no one's able to help them, or no one expresses any interest in helping them. I don't know. We had a few of them follow us out of the house to our home for help moving on. The previous owners, husband and wife, they were both still there, and they followed us. They followed us just so they could get out of that atmosphere. There were a few others that stayed behind, and there they are because they're caught up in that. So there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to this stuff. A lot of misunderstanding.
As a way to demonstrate their gifts, Tom showed us how dowsing rods can detect a person's aura or spiritual energy. Here he is demonstrating on Maritza.
No, really. So I'm going to come toward you and say, show me your aura, show me your aura, show me your aura, show me your aura. See how it starts to turn? That's your energy. I'm asking it to show me your aura. Show me your aura, show me your aura, show me your aura, show me your aura. See how it starts to turn? That's where your energy field is.
So like this is my personal space.
That's your. Yeah, that's why when people get up close to you, it freaks you out. Yeah. They're in your energy. So people with real negative energy or creepy energy, like you don't want to be near them. You feel like dirty around because like you're feeling their energy, right? So I'm going to ask you. You know the Our Father?
Uh-huh.
Say it in your head. Center yourself, focus yourself, and say it. Now show me your aura. Show me. Oh wait.
But I didn't even get to like.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
You're saying prayer. Prayer's a real thing.
I didn't get like too.
Center yourself, focus yourself, start saying it in your head. I'm all the way out here, man. You doubled the size of your aura when you pray. So when you ask us how we protect ourselves and stuff,
Right.
I have some real old prayers I say. Our Father works good. Say it 3 times a day. It's good medicine, right? Yeah. So yeah, you actually increase your positive energy in your space when you say it. So how do you keep things away from you? Dark things don't like that. They don't like it at all. They really, really don't. Power of prayer. You ever imagine? You ever imagine it was that powerful? You can double your own energy all the way out. So I'm lined up with your heart space. And so it tells me it's coming right out of your heart. What about your head? Do you think you got a big head?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to douse your aura again up here by your head. I'm all the way out here. I'm starting to turn. See this thing starting to turn. So you do have a big head. Sorry. Your head's a lot more energetic because your thought processes and all the electrical activity that goes on up in there. So yeah, you have a pretty big head. Good head, good energy. No worries. No worries. So you can like knock people away when you say like the Our Father to yourself.
We cannot close the case on 46 South Wells Street, as there is still a ton of mystery that is yet to be solved. One should be forewarned that in this Halloween season, according to Tom and Karen, that nasty things from the other side are out there and looking for mischief.
So All Souls Day is Halloween, All Hallowed Eve. What a lot of your religious folks used to celebrate as All Souls Day. And I really firmly, truly believe, based on my own personal, this is just my own personal experience, the veil, the separation between our side and theirs is very thin on that day. We used to have late night church celebrations for All Souls Day. And, you know, it would be crowded. Everybody's there praying for their ancestors and their loved ones. And yeah, they were there. They were there. It was really, really crowded. And trick-or-treating used to be kind of scary for me because you'd see the kids in costumes and the other things. And some of them aren't so pleasant. The veil's real thin that day. So if you're going to bump into something, good chance as any.
Our crew was never able to get inside the house, as it has been deemed condemned by the city of Wilkes-Barre. Maybe this was a sign from the good spirits to stay away from what dwells in the foundation of the property. Remember, if you do stop by the house and decide to take a closer look, what you are looking for is what you are going to get.